Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Oh god, there was a Nintendo Direct last week. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. We are doing something a little bit different today. Instead of doing like news and all the normal stuff that we do, we are just talking about last week's Nintendo Direct. And then on Thursday, come back, we're going to be talking about rainy day games and maybe picking up some of the other little bits and pieces that we leave behind today. But Mark, now, first of all, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
A Nintendo Direct is always so exciting.
It's very exciting. We're gonna jump right into it, Mark. I'm gonna play music to transition us into the topic, which is the Nintendo Direct. Wasting no time in getting to it, we're talking about this Nintendo Direct.
Came out of nowhere.
Announced on Wednesday, happened on Thursday, born on a Monday. Christened on Tuesday. How's the Solomon Grundy? How's the rest of that thing go?
I don't know.
I'm not really even sure I understand Solomon Grundy. Does he die every week? I don't really know how the character works.
I don't really either.
Well, let's not look into it.
A topic for another time.
That's right. Maybe for a 433 someday.
Yes.
So Nintendo Direct, we get 24 hours notice about. It's not a Direct Mini. This is a full-blown Nintendo Direct, giving us a clear image of what the rest of the year, maybe even a little bit of 2019. Mark thinks no.
Oh, a little bit of 2019, yes, weirdly. But no, I definitely do not think this is the rest of Nintendo's year.
Sure. Well, I mean, there were things that we know are coming this year that we saw no mention of, like Yoshi and like Fire Emblem. No mention of Pokemon.
Yeah, I think there are unannounced games.
Yes,
that are also coming this year.
Very mysterious. Should we
E3? They're going to announce something at E3
for sure.
Yeah,
and it'll be big, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Do you think so? Okay. Let's just skip a little bit to the end because I feel like it's impossible to talk about the rest of this thing without addressing the elephant in the room, which is Smash. The whole presentation ended with a Super Smash Brothers trailer. Do you think we hear anything more about Smash Brothers before E3?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to say no. Yeah. I think this is going to be like a Switch type thing where, it was the initial reveal was in October.
Yeah.
And then we didn't get anything more until January.
Right. And then it came out 2 months later.
Right. So I think it's going to be
less than 2 months later.
I think it's going to be almost that exact pattern. I think it's going to be this initial tease in June. We're going to get like the full reveal at E3 and then it's out in September
with the online service.
Yeah.
That all makes perfect sense to me. But very good. In the meantime, let's walk through the Direct and try and figure out, or not figure out, but like you and I, we hung out this weekend, and I was actively trying not to talk about the Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, me too.
Even though I badly wanted to talk about every single piece of it, because like that's what they're so exciting,
and some specific things I wanted to see how you were feeling.
Yeah. Well,
now we're going to find out.
Just so you know, I'm feeling mostly positive about almost everything, including how the thing started with more 3DS stuff. Now, we've maybe said on the show that, like, why are we still getting 3DS games? We just want to play things on our Switch.
So for all of the 3DS announcements, I'm just going to do one blanket requisite. Why I wish this was on Switch. The end.
Right. And I think that's fine. That's an okay thing to want. Something that I learned very recently playing Ocarina of Time 3D on my 3DS is I still like playing with that thing when the software is compelling. You know, it's nice to throw it in my bag and like play it for a little bit. I don't have to like baby it or anything like that.
Well, the first thing that was announced for the 3DS was
Mhm.
WarioWare Gold, which is coming August 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad we're seeing another WarioWare game.
I love the WarioWare games. I've never played a handheld WarioWare game before.
My first one was the DS one.
Okay.
And this is actually one game that, sure, I would like to see it on Switch, but I'm fine with it living on the 3DS.
Yeah.
One, it'll be like a lower price point,
Mm-hmm.
and two, you can do so many interesting things with the 3DS.
Yeah.
You know, they have like the gyroscope and the touchscreen and just all that kind of stuff that did you play Smooth Moves for the Wii?
Yeah, I love Smooth Moves.
It's a great game, but it felt like a little bit of a step down from all the different inputs available on the DS.
Right. And it does a pretty good job of like they have these stances for you. I'm talking about in Smooth Moves now. Stances so like you start each micro game holding the Wii remote in a different way.
Yeah.
And then having to, wave it around or point it or whatever. And I like that they built that into this WarioWare game, WarioWare Gold, where it's like, how will you have to interact with the 3DS in order to like play this micro game? So I don't know. It's very exciting.
And I also think this is like emblematic of the kind of 3DS support we're going to be getting from Nintendo. This reminds me a lot of like the Mario Party game that just came out.
Yeah.
Where it's like, here's the best Mario Party mini games in one collection.
So,
WarioWare Gold seems very similar.
Yeah, I mean it was a little bit confusing because they said that it is classic games and new micro games. But I guess I'm not clear on like what the overall package is. So like, is it a greatest hits WarioWare game or is it like a new WarioWare game?
My expectation is that it's going to be some new mini games, but mostly bringing back the classics.
Sure. And seeing as I've only really played Smooth Moves, bring them all on.
Yeah.
The next game that they showed, another 3DS game, is Dylan's Dead Heat Breakers. Mark, what?
I feel like this was announced a long time ago.
I remember seeing these characters somewhere, and for a second I was like, are they SteamWorld Dig characters?
No,
what are these?
There was another like 3DS game at the beginning of the 3DS's life that
featured Dylan?
Yes. And it was like an eShop exclusive type game.
Yeah, okay, it's sort of ringing a bell.
I didn't play it.
Mm-hmm.
I do not care about this game at all.
What is Dylan? He's like an armadillo.
Yeah,
or something?
He's an armadillo.
They describe the game as action meets tower defense. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, another game that I'm kind of like, is Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story and Bowser's Jr.'s Journey. Two things weird about this.
Yeah.
One, they're skipping Partners in Time, which was the game between these two.
That's true.
Two, they announced this for 2019.
So that's the craziest thing in the whole Direct, right? Is that they're like, here's a 3DS game that's going to come out in 2019. I'm actually a lot less meh about this than Dylan's Dead Heat Breakers. I played most of the remake of Superstar Saga, and last year, and really enjoyed it. And I never got all the way through Bowser's Inside Story. I would like a reason to revisit it. But yeah, 2019 is so strange.
Right, yeah, it's weird to announce it now. I mean, I guess it's saying that we're going to continue supporting the 3DS into 2019. Also, the what was the one that just came out?
Superstar Saga. Yeah.
So that seemed like it came out, was reviewed fine, but didn't really seem to set the world on fire.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like it improves on Superstar Saga, and then you just got to be like, well, Superstar Saga was only as good as it was, like it wasn't a mind-blowing game. It was just like a funny, Mario RPG, which is exactly what I'm expecting of Bowser's Inside Story as well. So, yeah, but it does seem weird that they're like, yeah, let's go back to that right away.
Yeah.
Although right away, nothing, a year and a half later,
Yeah, I guess that's true. It seems very strange to me that they announced it now.
So just like when the last one, it has like an extra little mini game. It's not even really a mini game. It's like a side game along with it that seems more or less identical to Bowser's Minions, which is what I think that one was called. I haven't touched the Bowser's Minions on Superstar Saga, so I can't imagine I'd be you just doing that, but with Bowser Jr. And I'm like,
It's a big step down.
I don't need Bowser Jr. in my life. Next up, they They brought up a Detective Pikachu, which is due out super soon now.
Next week.
Yep, March 23rd. Showed like a trailer for it, which was kind of neat. Like to hear the Pikachu talk. I think my favorite detail from the trailer was that like no one knows why the Detective Pikachu is like this. Like just a mystery of the universe.
So I think this game came out in Japan in 2016 or 2017 or something. Apparently for the US release, it's like 2/3 longer.
Interesting.
It has a lot more, or maybe just Western release in general. I don't know if it's just for the US. Has a lot more cases and things like that. The aesthetically, I don't think it looks that fun. The human characters.
Oh yeah. It is unclear to me what you're actually doing in this game. Do you have a handle on that?
I think it's kind of like Phoenix Wright.
Okay.
I think there are Phoenix Wright-ish elements in it. Where it's kind of like I don't know, what would you call that? A visual novel? No, it's like
kind of, but you're like
a little bit of point-and-click adventure game.
Yeah.
The story also reminds me a little bit of Zootopia. Did you see Zootopia?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like it's a world where Pokemon exist peacefully with humans, except something's causing the Pokemon to go crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. Are you excited about
no,
interested in this game at all?
Not really.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay, so this is probably the biggest 3DS announcement.
Okay.
A Luigi's Mansion remake is coming later this year.
Very strange, right? It looks like it is made in the Dark of the Moon engine,
which would make sense.
Mm-hmm. But the original Luigi's Mansion is quite a bit shorter than Dark of the Moon. Dark of the Moon has multiple mansions that you explore, and Luigi's Mansion was just the one. And it doesn't sound like they've added anything. There's a boss rush mode, but that's it. Are you excited about this one?
I never really played Dark of the Moon. And although that one's pretty well regarded.
Dark of the Moon or the original? Yeah,
Dark of the Moon. I feel indifferent about this.
Yeah.
I have seen some people complaining that it doesn't look as good as the GameCube version.
That seems like a no-brainer, right? Like, of course, the GameCube version is going to look better than the 3DS version.
I don't know. The 3DS is running on much more modern hardware.
But it's a handheld.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't surprise me at all. And also, no matter what, if you're playing a GameCube game on a TV and you're playing the 3DS game on that 3DS screen, which has like whatever resolution problems that screen has, what is it? What is it about images on the 3DS screen that like always makes them look super pixely?
I think it's just because
rough edges.
I don't know. Maybe because each individual pixel is large, especially on like the XLs.
Yeah, that might be it. But yeah, I don't. Does that bother you that it doesn't look as shiny as?
No. It doesn't. That doesn't bother me. I don't know. Luigi's Mansion isn't like super near and dear to my heart.
But we did record an episode about it like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a good reason to like revisit it and revisit that episode. We'll be like, wow, we didn't know what we were talking about. All right, Mark, that's all the 3DS stuff that we have to talk about, right?
Yeah,
Phew. Time to move on to the Switch. Starting, of course, with Kirby Star Allies, which is coming out this week.
On Friday.
Coming out on Friday. So they showed off some of the just like more like features of the game, including Dream Friends. So if you've had an opportunity to play the demo, that is available now. You can like as you encounter enemies that have abilities, you can throw a heart at them and they become your friend, and they're like rolling around in your posse, beating up people for you and stuff. But like the Dream Friends looks like it's characters that you can recruit from like Kirby's past.
Yeah, well, and a lot of them are like enemy or like bosses. Like they include King Dedede and Meta Knight and things like that.
Yeah. And then going forward, it's weird. They're like 2 weeks after the game comes out, they're adding a bunch of Dream Friends. They're adding Rick, Kind, and Koo from Kirby's Dream Land 2, Marks from Kirby's Superstar, and Gooey from Kirby's Dream Land 3. And those all are dropping on March 28th. They didn't announce if they were like going to be adding more of these like in perpetuity or what. It seems like a weird little thing for them to hold on to for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's just added content, right? There's it's not DLC or anything. You're not paying for it.
Yeah, that's my understanding. But also, I don't know. It seems weird to have like these extra characters that like aren't the characters you're encountering through the course of the game. Do we have any indication of like how you summon them or how you get them on your team?
No, I don't think so. But also, we haven't really seen a ton from this game. Like, the demo doesn't really show you that much.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing there are probably secrets left to be uncovered. I don't know that I'm still going to be playing this on March 28th, though, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. Great point. I mean, it's 2 weeks. 2 weeks of this Kirby game. That seems like a lot of time with this Kirby game.
Seems like a lot of time.
I'm excited. I'm excited for this game now. I did play the demo over the weekend. And Sarah was playing a little bit of it now, and I think it'll be super fun for us to play together. So.
Okami HD is coming out this summer.
This summer. Are you an Okami guy, Mark? I don't know.
Yeah, I played it on the PS2, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Not the Wii remake, but.
And the Wii remake necessarily would not be in HD. So has this game been out before?
Yes, in fact, it came out on the
HD?
PS4 and Xbox One and maybe PC just a few months ago.
Oh, okay.
So when Okami HD was announced for other platforms, Switch was kind of a big omission, and now it's coming.
And it's getting touch and like kind of waggle controls if for controlling the. What do the actual like paintbrush things do in the course of the game? Is it like puzzle related or like activating moves or
it's been so long since I've done it. I think it's both like puzzle related and like finishing move type stuff.
Okay. So if you're playing it in handheld mode, you can touch the screen, and if you're playing with Joy-Cons detached, you can wave your Joy-Cons around. And I don't know what happens if you're holding a Pro controller.
Probably the same. You probably just like wave the Pro controller around.
It's probably the same. you wave something around.
Yeah,
it makes you walk up to the TV, pull the thing out of the dock, and then like.
Or maybe you just use the analog stick. I mean, that's how the original PS2 version was.
Yeah, there you go.
So this is one of the 3 third-party games that you were texting me afterwards saying that you're excited for.
Yes, I am interested in playing this game. I have never played an Okami game before. Always looked cool to me. I like Capcom. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna give this a try this summer.
One of these weird announcements was that Sushi Striker: The Way of Shushido, which you'll remember last year at E3 was announced for the 3DS, is now also coming to the Switch on June 8th.
Yeah, this is another game where I'm like, I don't know what the gameplay actually is. It looks like it's maybe like an action platforming, or not platforming, action puzzle kind of thing. And there's like 2-player head-to-head.
Yeah, there seems like there's like some sort of like combat involved, because you're eating sushi off of a conveyor belt, and then once you gather enough plates of the same color, you can shoot them at the person sitting across from you.
Look, man, I don't know. But it looks super like it's got a cool like anime style to it. And it has an insane story. They say it takes place after the bitter sushi struggles and all sushi is outlawed or something. But you're at like a conveyor belt sushi restaurant where it's just everywhere. So
why is this a cross-platform release?
I don't know. I mean, because it can exist on both platforms. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, why this and not WarioWare? Why this and not
anything
Luigi's Mansion? Maybe those are built on different engines that don't, and like this one is built on something that does have cross-platform capabilities.
I mean, it seems like it's a pretty low-tech game, right? Like it's not stretching any hardware that it's running on. So maybe that's why. I don't
I
know.
don't know.
Maybe someone really believes in this game and is like, it needs to be on every platform we can put it on.
It looks interesting. I don't even know that I want to pay like $30-$40 for it though.
Yeah, I think it's
It looks like
a full price game.
It looks like it looks from what we've seen to me like a Fruit Ninja type phone game.
See, yeah, I was thinking it's got a little bit of that like not quite match 4 kind of component to it, but like a little bit of like a block dropping sort of puzzle game, which I do like. I don't know. This is a wait and see one for me as well.
We finally got a release date for Octopath Traveler, which that is what it's called. We all knew it was going to happen. They just dropped the project,
right?
Project Octopath Traveler, which was the unofficial title, and they were just like, just kidding, what else are we going to call this after basically marketing it as this game for like a year and a half?
Yeah, so Octopath Traveler is coming out in July, the 13th. That's exciting. They showed off 2 new characters, Tressa the merchant and Alphen the apothecary. Still showing off like cool new ways that they interact with their environment, that like everyone has their is traveler what's the
I can't remember what they're called. It's like
called?
like trait or whatever. Like each one has a specific skill.
The thing that they do to interact with the world that no one else can do. And so, they can either like the merchant can buy things off of people, and the apothecary can like cure people of, whatever ails them. Game looks super cool. It's still I mean, it's gonna be a neat game.
I hope so. It seems like the type of game that our Tokyo RPG project, like
RPG Factory,
wants to make, but maybe doesn't have the budget to make. Like those like throwback RPGs,
the I Am Setsunas and Lost Spheres of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a special edition of this thing coming out, which is just like jam packed with crazy stuff. There's a pop-up book.
Yeah, the pop-up book is pretty cool.
It does seem neat, and because the game looks like a pop-up book. And then there's also a soundtrack CD, a map, and a replica coin. So,
we were playing a little bit of Chrono Trigger this weekend when we were hanging out, and one thing that after playing Chrono Trigger and looking at Octopath Traveler, I wish Octopath Traveler was a little more colorful. I wish it wasn't so saturated. In everything we've seen.
Everything we've seen, and we've seen a couple different environments. We've seen towns, we've seen like overworld, and it all is kind of like washed out and like brown and gray. So, Chrono Trigger is a very colorful game, so it might not be a fair point to hold them next to each other.
So how are you feeling about Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes, after we've now understand possibly a little bit more about what this game is going to be?
I'm still not sure I do understand what this game is going to be. So this was another one that they showed off here, coming out sometime in 2018. They say it's 7 different games, including action, racing, and puzzle games. And then there's a boss at the end of each of these games.
They all seem to have this kind of like top-down arcade type view to them.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't say that I'm super excited for this. I'm also not. I haven't actually played any of the No More Heroes games, so like, I'm not sure that I have that. Like, I'm naturally excited about a Suda 51 game. I don't know. How are you feeling?
So I played the original No More Heroes. When we talked about Bayonetta 2, we talked about how, I don't know, the game maybe hasn't aged very well, even though it's only a few years old.
Right.
And I wonder how I guess like not aesthetic, but I wonder how No More Heroes would hold up to today's.
Yeah, like, just because it's like obsessed with violence, or
violence, and also just like juvenile. It's just juvenile in every way possible, basically. Sure. I am interested to see what this becomes. It's clear it's not No More Heroes 3.
Right.
I don't know. This is really like a wait and see.
They also showed off that there's split Joy-Con co-op, and that the adventure mode, quote, tells a new story. So there you go. We get a new story instead of having to tell that same old story over and over again. Then they transition to kind of an in-depth look at Mario Tennis Aces, which is coming out June 22nd.
Wait. I don't want to.
Oh, you're right.
I want to talk about Dark Souls Remastered only because
let's do that.
We've talked about there's a dearth of amiibo, and there's a Dark Souls amiibo coming exclusively to GameStop, which I find hilarious. That there's a Dark Souls amiibo.
That's very funny. It is already like causing a problem within the amiibo collecting community.
It's impossible to get.
It's impossible to get.
Not even out yet.
And I mean, but this is the way that they all are, right? That or all of the tough to get ones is that it's tough to get before it comes out.
It's a GameStop exclusive, and apparently there was an internal like GameStop memo saying that it's going to be very limited.
So there we go. Amiibo collectors, sorry. Another thing to note about Dark Souls Remastered is that there is a network test coming soon. So that's kind of a trend for a lot of these games, that there is you'll have an opportunity to play it before it actually comes out.
I think this is also a trend for like those Soulborn games.
Oh yeah,
having like a network test beforehand.
I wasn't aware of that mind you, I wasn't really following them as they came out on other platforms, but I'll pay attention to that in the future. Now Mario Tennis Aces?
Yeah, now let's talk about Mario Tennis Aces.
Okay, so they drill down into this bad boy. Did I say it's out on June 22nd yet?
I can't remember.
And
there's no way for us to ever find out.
No, and no one will ever know, and no one will ever correct us about it. So they go in to a lot of like how the game actually plays moment to moment, including like building up your energy gauge and then like how you use the energy gauge to perform special moves and like breaking rackets and stuff like that. How are you feeling about Mario Tennis Aces?
It looks fun. It looks cute. You can like play as a chain chomp.
Oh yeah,
more
than 15 playable characters is what they said.
So all of that is great. I've never been a huge Mario sports title guy.
Yeah.
And so I think it looks nice.
Yeah. I'm actually sort of excited for this game. It looks like a lot of fun. It helped me a lot for them to like actually go through and be like, here's how it's more than just like, characters playing tennis with special moves.
Which is kind of what the Wii U version has a reputation for being, right? It's just like super bare bones.
Yeah. And this has a simple rules like game mode if you don't want to mess with all the goofy special moves and meters and stuff, which is cool. There's also a swing mode, which appears to just be turning the game into Wii Tennis. So you can just swing your racket around or swing your Joy-Cons around as though it is your racket, which is kind of cool. I can't imagine that I'll be doing that ever, but like, I don't know if my parents are around or something and be like, they liked Wii Tennis. It could be something that I could engage them with for a little bit. And then they touched on the story mode. They're going to be holding events and online tournaments.
So the story mode is the only thing that like really interests me in this game. The same sort of way that Golf Story, the Switch eShop release, I don't care that much about golf games, but it's a golf game / RPG, and like the RPG elements of it were enticing enough that I like really enjoyed playing through that game. And so if I got Mario Tennis, it would almost exclusively be like at this point I expect it would be almost exclusively to play through the story mode.
Okay, but you got to learn how to, if I'm getting this game, Mark, you got to learn how to play it so we can play it together.
We got presumably I would learn how to play it while I was
play some doubles.
Do you think doubles exist in the online tournament? Because that actually seems like a pretty cool feature.
Yes. I mean, I hope so. We'll play some mixed doubles. I'll be, I don't know, Rosalina, and you'll be Waluigi?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. I love it. And this is another one where they're having a pre-launch tournament. So before the game comes out, you will have an opportunity to play it and see if it's actually any fun for you.
Which I think is kind of smart. It's like, I'm sure it's like those pre-launch Splatfest and like the ARMS, whatever they called it.
Test Punch.
Where it acts as a demo, but also gives them a chance to test servers and stuff before the game goes live.
Yep. Then they moved on to Captain Toad Treasure Tracker.
Another one of those Switch 3DS hybrids.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know. It must be that certain engines that Nintendo is used to work with, it makes it easily for like cross-porting.
Here's the thing. I think that these two versions of Captain Toad Treasure Tracker are going to be more different than we're expecting. I don't think they're going to have different levels or anything, but the 3DS version has touch controls in it as like part of the normal way that you interact with it. And the Switch version, you can play in TV mode or like console mode, whatever it's called. So like, I don't know. I think the 3DS version is going to be more like the Wii U version, basically, because you can always, touch the gamepad while you're playing it. So just like in terms of input, they feel like they're different games. Speaking of different games, there are new levels in this version of Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. We don't have any idea how many. They showed off New Donk City of the Metro Kingdom in Super Mario Odyssey. And then reminded us that Captain Toad is in Super Mario Odyssey.
Maybe you haven't found him.
Yo, come on. He's in every kingdom. But I really like Captain Toad. You
had it on the Wii U.
Yeah.
I've seen you play it a little bit. I'm like familiar with it. I think it's another one of those that makes total sense to bring onto the Switch and 3DS because it was a niche title on a niche system.
Yeah.
I love Captain Toad. Super cute. I think it was only $40 on the Wii U. I think it's probably going to only be $40 on the Switch.
Yeah, that'd be a good price point for it.
So, yeah.
I would definitely recommend that you pick it up. I think you'd have a lot of fun with it.
Will you buy it again?
Yes, I will. I have to be careful, in fact, to not buy it twice again. Because I might. I don't know.
Yeah, what if the 3DS turns out to be the definitive version? Oh, also there's a co-op mode, which has to be new, right? Or is that also in the Wii U version?
That's also new. I mean, that's also new. Then they moved on to Undertale. Excuse me, Undertale coming to Switch. Eventually, is what they say.
Yeah. The only thing I know about this game is that everybody loves it.
That is also pretty much the only thing that I know about it. I know that it is a old school looking RPG that plays with your expectations about what games do and what RPGs do, and that your choices have consequences, and even mundane choices like, am I going to kill this enemy or run away, or do I die here and like restart? That all of that kind of builds up and has lasting impact. I'm excited to try it, and this is one of those games that like I've been meaning to play forever. Is it on PlayStation?
Unsure.
I don't think it is, because I feel like I would have played it if it came to PlayStation. I know it was on Xbox and as a PC game for a while. But yeah, come to Switch. Come to Switch. I'll play you on Switch. That's fine. Speaking of, so this is the second of the third-party games that I was like, oh yes, I'm gonna hop on that. Octopath Traveler is also in that category, but
right? But that's like a gimme, I guess.
It's a gimme. Yeah, I didn't feel the need to comment on whether or not I was going to pick that.
Is Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy coming in July? Is that a no-brainer?
I would say it is a no-brainer in that I'm going to skip it without a second thought about whether I should skip it.
Yeah, I think we've already trashed Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, more like Trash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
Did I get that out fast enough?
I feel like we've done that enough on this show that we don't necessarily need to do it again in case there are crash heads out there.
There might be.
Yeah.
Crash heaps.
No, I'm sure there are. It sold insanely well on the PS4.
Insanely well?
Yes, in fact.
I mean, so if anything, it's interesting that the Crash Bandicoot game is coming to the Switch.
Yeah.
It's kind of just being released from its PlayStation exclusivity. It's also coming to Xbox the same day.
Presumably, or not presumably. Rumor is that Activision is working on like a new game for a new Crash game.
Yeah.
So I assume that would be multi-platform as well whenever that comes out. I think this is just part of their like plan to reinvigorate the Crash Bandicoot franchise.
I thought for sure that we were like free of Crash Bandicoot.
Millions of people love this game because they played it as children and don't remember how bad it is. So enjoy it if that's your thing.
Yeah, I have no intention of picking this one up. Then Little Nightmares, the complete edition, coming May 18th.
I'd never heard of this game before.
Yeah, me neither. But I guess it was on other platforms.
Looks creepy.
Looks creepy. It's coming feature complete with all the DLC and whatever. And if you tap in your Pac-Man amiibo from the Smash Brothers line, you get a.
So is this a Namco game then?
It is a Namco game.
Interesting.
Yes. It unlocks a Paku mask, which whatever. It's so what is this thing? It's like a creepy puzzle platforming, like atmosphere.
Kind of like it has a Tim Burton type looking aesthetic.
It does look a little Burton-y, yeah. Are you interested in this?
So I think the trailer was interesting. I don't know if I'm interested enough to actually buy it.
Yeah.
If somebody was like, here, then I would take it.
You hear that, Namco Bandai? Bandai Namco, whatever your name is, reach out to us and say, here's the game, and then Mark will shrug at it.
Whereas if somebody was like, here's a code for Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, yeah.
I'd just be like, what do you want me to do with this?
Like, can I divine some meaning in these numbers?
South Park, The Fractured Butthole is coming to Switch April 24th.
This is the third game that I was like, I'm excited for this to come out on Switch.
So we've known each other for a few years now, but
yes.
If somebody asked me at gunpoint or otherwise whether you
Let's assume there's no gun involved.
Well,
I feel like that changes the scenario.
Well, if somebody came to me and was like, does Patrick Ellers like South Park?
Yeah.
I don't know that I have an answer to that. Well, so answer now definitively on the podcast. Do you like South Park?
Do I like South Park? I have in my life liked South Park. This last season of South Park was the first one in years that I haven't watched all of. South Park is what South Park is. But like I feel like it got too like proud of itself. And especially in the last like 3 or 4 years has like been actively contributing like poorly to society and like feeding a culture of like having a side or like picking a side or having feelings or caring about something is dumb, which is it's a poison sort of ethos that they're spreading around.
Yeah, my problem with South Park is exactly that it prides itself on this idea of like we're equal opportunity offenders, right, and like picking a side or the idea that there might be like actual right and wrong is
right. Or even that like here's this thing that like appears ridiculous or that has ridiculous aspects to it, so like write the whole thing off. That's detrimental too. And yeah, I mean, I think that there are a lot of ways that South Park has done more harm than whatever yucks you're going to get out of like talking poop jokes. That they're never going to counterbalance each other. But I do think one of the things that South Park is super fun about, South Park is when they let themselves be like excited like fanboys about stuff. And the first South Park RPG,
Stick of
Truth, yeah, is the kids playing Lord of the Rings. Basically, they're playing like high fantasy, and it's just it's based on a couple episodes where the kids were dressed up like that, and it is just like a send up of those kinds of things, and is as loving as it is dismissive. And the Fractured But Whole is that, but with the kids' superhero alter egos, which they've also explored on the show, and that is when the show can just be like kind of sillier, and when they're making jabs about like franchise fatigue or whatever. I'm like, okay, that's a harmless enough target that they're aiming for, that it doesn't seem like they're destroying the way we talk to each other online.
The rumor is that Stick of Truth is coming to Switch as well in some form at some date. I think it's cool that this game is coming to Switch. I
Yeah.
like to see all these different like third-party games that haven't been on Nintendo platforms coming to Switch. It's not something I'm going to be picking up though.
I probably will. Speaking of something that we're probably not going to be picking up, Hyrule Warriors, the definitive edition, comes out on May 18th.
And I don't know if there's any more to be said about that.
In fact, Nintendo didn't say anything more about that. They were like, now it's time to learn about a new release date. May 18th. Moving on. And then they moved on to ARMS. Not that they have anything really new to announce about like ARMS in-game content, but they are going to be holding US and Canada Open ARMS tournaments.
Online,
yes. And the preliminaries for those the prelims are happening right now, the 8th through the 18th. And then the finals are on March 31st. And then also on March 31st, there's a 3-day test punch. So if you haven't tried ARMS yet and you wish that you would have been paying attention when the last
you like
test
got a
punch
Switch
was,
for Christmas or something.
Yeah. So you can mess around with the game a little bit then. You didn't pick up ARMS, right?
No.
Any chance you'll be tuning in for the test punch at all?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Okay. I kind of got my feel on the last test punch, but maybe I would actually download it if it has like the new fighters in it.
Yeah, it would. I mean, I think it would.
Well, the first test punch just had like limited characters.
Right. So, yeah. So I wonder what a test punch is now. I wonder if it's all the characters or what it is.
So the last like thing that they announced before dropping the Smash Brothers bomb was version 3.0 of Splatoon 2 coming in late April.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like checks the boxes for what we expect from Splatoon updates at this point. New gear, new stages, a new rank for ranked matches. It's rank X, which is higher than S+. And then Callie can return to Octo Canyon if you meet certain conditions.
Being a little bit mysterious there, Nintendo, about what that means. Yeah, I'm excited to see Camp Triggerfish coming back from Splatoon 1. That was a crazy map that I liked a lot. And more stages is always good.
Although probably the biggest news is that 2018 is the year of the Octoline.
Yes, it is, because summer is going to see the Octo expansion, which is the first paid DLC for Splatoon 2. It looks like it's a single player experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like another campaign mode or something. That they showed off with like a weird trailer of like you play as a character that looks like an Octoling. Is they say specifically now that she is an Octoling, and they're calling her Agent 8, and she's like going around to different laboratories via a subway system, and like Pearl and Marina are there doing something, as is that like captain-y guy. What is he? What's his name?
The old man?
Yeah, the old man.
I
forget his name. But they say that there's something about the lore. Oh, just the story mode is packed with lore. So I don't know. It seems I always wanted there to be a like richer, fuller like story campaign in Splatoon and Splatoon 2. And it seems like they're sort of actually going to deliver on that in this Octo expansion.
So it's going to be $20,
which
and
is
for
a
a
little
lot
bit
of
of a bummer.
people,
Yeah.
it's probably worth it. So that way they can play as an Octoline in the multiplayer, which you'll be able to do once you finish the story mode.
Which is pretty cool. And then when you, if you the DLC pack is available for purchase right now, and if you do, then you will immediately have access to some Octoling gear, so you can look a little bit more like one while playing now. So that's all cool. Then they're like, okay, Nintendo Direct is done. Everyone go home now. Just one more thing. We got one more thing to show you. This was a cool trailer, right? It starts with just like the Splatoon kids, shooting around,
which I think is kind of like an echo of the original Splatoon reveal trailer.
Yeah, that might be. And it's very specifically the girl and boy Inkling from the original Splatoon in their like orange and blue respectively, those colors, and they're just sort of like playfully like shooting at each other and like throwing grenades and stuff. And there's a little thing at the bottom that says like not actual game footage. And then like the lights go down and the Inkling girl like starts to slowly turn her head and something glimmering in her eye.
I'm sure you've seen this GIF like a million
must
times
have.
on the internet by this point.
It's just an exciting
No,
trailer.
I'm not telling you to not describe it.
Then we zoom in on the eye and we can see the thing reflected in her eye is the enormous flaming Smash Brothers logo. And off in the distance, we can see maybe like 20-ish Smash Brothers characters silhouetted against this giant sun logo. And quick close look at Mario, quick close look at Link, and then the whole thing's over. 2018.
So we know there's a Super Smash Brothers coming now. The Link looks like the Breath of the Wild Link.
That's right. He's not wearing a hat. It looks like he blue on his clothes and not green. So
lots of that's all we know. That's it. That's all we know.
2018.
So we know Sakurai is working on it.
Yeah.
In some capacity.
We don't know what that means.
We don't know if it's a new game, if it's a like enhanced port.
We know that the logo looks a little different from previous Smash Brothers games. We know that the music that's being played in the background of the trailer when we do see the logo has never been heard in a Smash game before. So that's new material.
Yeah, so basically there was lots of speculation before this came out that it was going to be like a definitive edition or deluxe edition or whatever of the previous game of Smash 4. I think this very clearly shows that it's a brand new game.
Yeah.
New logo, new music, new characters. I think they're very clearly setting up expectations. This is a new game. I 100% expect that it's built on the bones of Smash 4.
Totally.
But I don't think that...
Probably even reusing a lot of the same assets.
Yeah, probably the same assets. It wouldn't surprise me if we see similar levels, like all that kind of stuff. A lot of the same fighters. But I think this is very clearly Smash 5.
I will agree with that. What do you think about the tone of the game? Obviously, all we've seen is one trailer. We've seen one teaser trailer. Let's make as much of it as we can. The tone of this seems darker and weirder, just from what we've seen, than I remember there being for like other Smash games.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
It seems like the Inklings are having a good time, right?
Right.
And then here come the Smash cast, and the lights go down, and they're like being blown away by this terrifying sun behind them.
Yeah, what that portends for the game itself, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't imagine it's going to be a more like serious, darker Smash Brothers.
I'm saying it'll be a Mortal Kombat game, basically, with Nintendo characters.
What's the name of the hand?
Master Hand.
Yeah, Master Hand is gonna have like a studded collar.
Oh man, that's a bad hand. You wouldn't want to mess with him. All right, Mark, I think we did. I think we covered all of the Nintendo Direct. Did we leave anything out? The answer is no. But if you think that we did, you should email us at nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com. Let us know what we missed.
Well, okay, before we end, let me just and I'll pose this question to you and to our listeners. Do you think that we've already said that we don't believe that this is everything that Nintendo has to announce for the rest of the year, but if it were, do you think this was an exciting Direct?
I was excited during it, yeah. But I mean, I will also concede that I am letting myself be excited for things that I could have been playing already, like South Park, like Okami, and the other one that I can't remember now. But
Crash Bandicoot?
Yeah, it was Crash Bandicoot, that's right. But between Octopath Traveler, the new Splatoon stuff, and Smash, that's more than we got in any year, and this is a low bar, any year with the Wii U or any year in like the late Wii life cycle. I mean, it seems pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this direct.
Yeah. And again, the biggest game that Nintendo has announced for the year is Smash. That's coming out in September. So, or I guess we don't know that for
Mark
sure.
has said definitively.
That's right. Okay. All right. That's fair enough.
Undertale was the other one.
That's a good place to end.
All right. Let's move out of this discussion then. All right. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff on Apple Podcasts. And if you like the episode as well, you can share it with people who are also already talking about the Nintendo Direct, because we all are. We all just want to talk about it all the time. Share it with your friends and be like, hey, this is my inroad to talk to you about all the same Nintendo Direct stuff. Right?
Right.
If you want to follow us on Twitter, I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MKE Mitchell. Collectively, we are at Nin Cart Society. If you want to go to the Facebook page, it's just Nintendo Cartridge Society. If you like Mark and Mine's opinions, we write about comic books on ReckonPunch.com. Olivia Duncan made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can find more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers running away from that terrifying sun behind us. Thanks for listening.